So here's how you build this thing. Before that, I'll quickly go over the points on why this is better than something like the Kuba, for example. First, it is much less regulator dependent, so you can get an AliExpress regulator to work, just like you can get a Redline to work. Of course, still a good regulator is beneficial, especially for full auto. It wastes less air than the Kuba. You can achieve a much faster operation, much faster cycling rate. As well, it is compatible with standard HPA electronics as well as standard micro switches or even contacts from AG. And it is completely drop-in. You do not need to modify the gearbox. You can also achieve higher power, but you absolutely do require an SLA printer. An FDM printer will not work as the engine is constantly pressurized and any leaks will cause issues. And here is what you need to buy to make the engine. First, you should get some M2x8 screws. This is just to hold the solenoid. You also need 4 O-rings. I recommend just getting a kit of O-rings and you'll have whatever you need for future engines as well. Next, you should get an M5 air fitting for 6mm outer diameter holes. You should try to make sure that it has a seal, an O-ring or a flat seal, and that the outer diameter does not exceed like 8.5mm. Just try to find something that is small. Next, you should get a 3V110 or 3V120 solenoid valve. All you need from it is just the armature, which is that brass thing with a steel plunger. In a 3V110 you get one of these, and in a 3V120 you get 2. So if you get 2, you can use it in a double solenoid engine, which is coming as well. Next, you need a 0.3mm enamel copper wire. It must specifically be enamel. It cannot be bare. And you should get a minimum of 30 meters or 20 grams to be able to wind the full solenoid. But I recommend getting more. To connect your solenoid to your trigger board or FCU, you will need any sort of 2-pin connectors. Typically, Airsoft FCUs use ZH 1.5mm connectors, which are these little things. But if you're using your own solution, you can use anything you want. Finally, to print the engine parts, you need some sort of tough resin. Tough resin 2.0 from Anycubic is a good option. You can also mix tough resin and standard resin. That's personally what I do. Honestly, you can even use standard resin and it may work fine for you, but I wouldn't trust it long term. Some additional materials that you may need is silicone grease, which is absolutely crucial so your nozzle doesn't get stuck. You will need your own FCU or trigger board solution. Anything from 5 volts to 12 volts will work. And you will need your own trigger board, or you can use standard contacts or micro switch. Any tape for wrapping solenoids is recommended, something to isolate the coil. You can also use a heat shrink if you want, basically anything. A tool for stripping copper wire enamel, which can be pliers or a sharp blade. Optionally, you can mask the armature before you wind, just in case. And you should also have a drill. It's optional, but I highly recommend having a drill just to speed up the process of winding the solenoid, though it's completely possible to do everything by hand. Well, these are the parts for the current version at the time of filming. Changes may happen and the parts list may change, so head to the Discord. There you can get the updated list, maybe some new techniques on how to optimize the engine, and the files. Once you've got the files, we can get to slicing. Now, in your slicer, you must orient the body, the nozzle, and the head in the exact way I do here. So the nozzle must be facing up, the head with the threads must be facing up, and the body with the threads must be facing down. All parts are completely vertical at no angle. What I do here is just spam a bunch of light spots all over the place. Make sure not to place any on the blue sloped surfaces like I do here, only support what is needed. That is to keep a nice and smooth surface for the contact parts. And here I don't place any supports inside. I just do a ring around there, and that's it. That's basically it. I keep standard settings and I export. Once you've got your prints done, you must wash them well, you must dry them completely and probably longer than you think you should. And pick out these two parts first, the bobbin front and bobbin rear. Cure them for like 15 seconds, make sure not to over cure. And you can place them on the armature like so. First, I recommend putting some masking tape on the armature, just so none of the wires are touching bare metal, but that's optional. And you can start winding. So I just mounted the whole assembly on a drill, taped down, very shoddily taped down one end of the wire, and just spin the drill, keep it tight, try to get the winds as neatly as possible, and I recommend going slower. This is just for an example. For the coil resistance, you want to aim for around 6.5 to 6.75 ohms. So once you wound the full bobbin, you're probably gonna have more than that, and you want to test it with the multimeter and unwind little by little until you get the resistance that you want. So somewhere between 6.5 to 6.75. Before doing any sort of soldering or measuring with the multimeter, you must scrape off the enamel thoroughly. And once you've unwound enough to get your desired resistance, you can finally solder on your connectors, then wrap with tape or heat shrink or anything you want. Once your solenoid assembly is done, you're almost finished. Now you can optionally smoothen the surfaces. You can put on all the O-rings. The one interior O-ring in the head can be quite tricky to put in, but it's possible. As well, you wanna take your body and sand off all the bumps left by supports, and this is so you can screw in the head fully and properly. Otherwise, you won't even be able to fit the engine in your gearbox. And when you have your parts ready, you can finally assemble the whole engine, put it all together, wire up your solenoid to your trigger board, to your FCU. I've got a standard TT38 FCU and trigger board here, running on a standard 7.4 volt battery. It works perfectly fine. If you want any more info or support, you can head over to the Discord and I'll be happy to help you. And the next thing I'm working on is a double solenoid engine, so that will be also coming. And since I'm doing all of this for free, I'd be very thankful if you guys could contribute to the coffee, but that is completely optional. Though I'd be very thankful because I've poured in a bit of investment and a lot of time into learning these things and giving it to you guys. So I cannot promise at this time that you will get any benefits from supporting me, but maybe later some special things. So thank you guys a lot for watching. Head over to the Discord. I'll be seeing you. Bye bye. Also, a random person whose comment contains the word solenoid will receive a €100 discount on the Spectre MK3. So if you want to just comment anything with that word. Okay, now actually, bye bye.